Hello, my name is Edwin, and I am a Taurus.
My name's Felicia, and I'm a Gemini. And
Yes, we are dating.
so when we started dating, we both kind of looked up our zodiacs and our compatibility, and there was never anything good to say about it. We have like a 3% compatibility because
Probably
of our
worse.
obvious differences.
Yeah.
So it definitely takes a lot of work to make our relationship function.
Yeah, the main thing that we've noticed when reading about our zodiac signs being together is the opposite being able to understand where the other's coming from, because we both have such dominant personalities, we both have our own beliefs. It basically said in order for us to make it work, we have to be able to meet in the middle, and that's what we've been doing.
And have an open line of communication. And we go through weeks where we're like, yes, we're doing so awesome, the communication is perfect. And then there's a couple weeks where I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Because we can't, it's like we're just pounding in a brick wall trying to talk to each other. So it is definitely a lot of work. It takes, you got to know that that's what you want to be doing. And you have to find the good in the other person you're trying to be with.
A lot of selfishness can come from a Taurus. We can be selfish at times. It's more about,
Materialistic things.
yeah, I can say we do like the nice things in life, and I mean, yeah, I'm guilty of those traits.
I mean, I can't speak for every Taurus man, but this one, very materialistic. We struggled very, very much so in the beginning with selfishness. So, but you're doing better.
Come a long way.
When I met him and it was very fresh, it was all about him, what he wanted to do, what he liked. That's what it was about. When he is overwhelmed or upset, like with me, for instance, or with a life endeavor at all, he kind of shuts down. He's quiet. He has this mean look on his face. Me, when something's bothering me, I'm very expressive. I let it be known what's going on, what's bothering me, and I want to talk about it, whether it be in a positive or negative manner. It gets talked about. Him, it's like you have to pry it out of him. So that has been a very difficult situation, but we have come a long way even with that.
Yeah, I'm very sheltered with my emotions and things like that. She's very open to express her emotions, so
He's like still water, I'm like a hurricane.
fire, ice.
Yeah, he's a very loyal person, and he's very loving. You couldn't tell if you didn't know him, but he's very mushy gushy. But there's lots of things that I love about him, or I wouldn't be with him.
I love the fact that if I know something's wrong, I don't have to pry it out of her. I'm gonna hear it as soon as it's a problem. I love the ambition that she shows in everything she does. She motivates me because a lot of the times I'm cool, calm, and okay where I'm at in my life. She gives me the extra push to go for better, bigger things.
Yeah, he likes to sit in the house all day, and I'm like, let's go kayaking, let's go do something, and he's like, can't we just watch a movie? And I'm like, we already watched a movie. I'm a Gemini, and when I get mad, I'd say that 8 times out of 10, depending on the situation, it's probably pretty explosive. If I start getting quiet and I'm not talking,
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
the explosion is coming. It's like the still before the storm. Because I am very verbal about everything. So when I don't have words for what's going on in my head, yeah, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, I mean, I see the blunt of it, so I completely agree. But I mean, she can be very, very aggressive, very, very emotional about how she feels on a situation.
Raw emotion.
And me myself, I'm very quiet. So when she gets in these type of modes where I have to speak, I have to raise my voice because I can't match that energy. It's really hard sometimes. I usually just try to hear her out, and then we try to talk about the situation and where we can fix it.
What he does is he stays quiet, and then he
if
makes
I-
it even more mad.
If I do stay quiet, then the whole roof of the house will blow up, and we don't want that. Well, for me, being a Taurus, I deal with depression a lot differently than she would deal with depression. I'm very closed off. I don't really speak much. I look miserable. You can see it all over me. I won't say it out loud, but I mean, you can honestly just look at me and know that I'm going through something. Sometimes it's hard for me to get out of those funks, and it took me finding a strong woman to help me get out of that.
When I'm going through depression, sometimes people don't even notice, because when I'm out in public and people can see me, I act completely normal. It's when I'm in private and no one is around that I deal with my depression or whatever I'm going through. I try to pull myself out of things quickly, because life doesn't stop just because, something's going wrong or whatever the case may be, which is a little bit different with him because he likes to sulk for longer periods of time. So as a Gemini, I find it extremely hard to stay on task. I'm constantly scatterbrained. I start one thing and I really love it and I'm doing great at it, and then all of a sudden something else catches my eye and then I'm bored with what I'm doing there, so I start another task. Or it could even be a job. I start a job and I'm like, this is awesome, and then a couple months down the road I'm like, okay, this is boring, now I want to do something different. So it affects all aspects of my life. Sometimes I can't even stay on task with what I'm talking about because I'm all over the place.
Yeah, and that really puts me in a weird place because
You're so grounded.
I'm very grounded. I like doing one thing, sticking to it, getting it done. But being with her, we're doing one thing, the next thing you know, we're doing something else. The next thing you know, we're doing something else. And I don't like that I have to be challenged constantly, but it's something that I'm learning to deal with.
So a lot of people around me, relationships, friendships, I've been told that I can come off as cold. I think that it's because when other people are feeling sad or things are happening to them, I don't react, I guess, the way that I would be expected to. So, like, if there's a room full of people and they're crying, I might be just as sad as everyone else, but I'm uncomfortable that everyone's crying because it takes something really devastating to me, or I have to be really, really upset to be put into tears. But it's not that I don't sympathize with those around me who are upset and they're crying. It just kind of makes me uncomfortable because I don't know how to comfort them, if that makes sense. It doesn't mean that I don't care about what's going on with them, because it hurts me to see people I care about hurt. I just don't express it the same way that they do.
Yeah, I've seen, her get in these modes where she's not showing emotion and things like that. I also have that problem, but I'm all love on the inside. It's my exterior that's cold. So, my problem is I can be angry, but deep down inside, I just want a hug. She can be angry, and deep down inside, she also wants a hug. But the thing is getting to the inside is what?
Well, a lot of the times I feel like what it is that I'm very matter of fact. So if there's a situation happening and some people are talking about all these different details, and I'm like, well, let's take a step back. This is what's going on here. And then that comes off as shitty.
It's just the bluntness, I would say. She's very blunt. So a lot of people in the world, they can't handle the bluntness.
Well, it's one of those things, you take it or leave it. You love it or hate it. A few of my pet peeves are, I'd say number one is people putting dishes in the sink with food on them. I like my house to be clean, orderly. I like my bills paid in advance so that I don't have to worry about it. I like things to kind of go according to plan, even though every time I plan something, usually it doesn't work out that way. But I still plan. I write a lot of things down, and I think that has to do with me being so scatterbrained. So if I need to pay, XYZ, I need to write down everything that I need to pay, because when I leave the house, I end up at Giant Eagle to pay my electric, and I go grocery shopping, and I come back home and I forgot everything else I needed to do. So those are a couple of my pet peeves.
And I mean, we share a lot of the pet peeves. It's just that I'm more reserved in a sense. Like, she wants 3 dishes in there, it's bothering her. Me, I'm kind of like, well, we could put 4 or 5 more in there, then I'll get to it. She wants the bills paid in advance. I'm like, well, when the first comes, we'll take care of it. There's just a lot of balance that we had to find within each other. If not, this would have never worked the first 2 weeks.
I think some of my best qualities are that I do have a lot of ambition and drive. So I do constantly want to do more and have more and be better, and I like to help the people around me. Some of my not so great qualities would be the fact that I love to do things, but I can't figure out what it is I want to do. I do have a pretty odd temperament. It is true that I can be happy for a while, and all of a sudden you don't even know what happened, and I'm freaking out on you. And I try to work on that.
Some of my good traits, I would have to say, are that I'm very reliable when things need to be done. I also think another good trait of mine is I always try to keep the peace, no matter what's going on, no matter how bad things get. I always want to find a way to fix the situation. Bad traits, I can be very selfish at times. I can also be very closed off at times. I can get grounded in a situation and not want to move from it. And that's one of my biggest traits that I don't even like on myself. I get stuck and I feel content.
Yeah, like a bulldozer that broke down. Advice I would have for someone dating a Gemini: make sure that your communication stays open, because it is very true when they say that, with an air sign, and especially with a Gemini, that we strive through communication. If you don't give us an answer, we will come up with one. My mind never stops, constantly moving. Like, you don't give me a scenario and I'll come up with 10 of them, and then it's a whole problem. So communication is number one. And kind of try new things, listen to what they're saying, try things that they would like to do, and just kind of be patient.
And I'd say if you're trying to get yourself in a relationship with a Taurus, try to be understanding. Try to see what it is because most of the time Tauruses aren't going to tell you how they feel the first time. They'll give you a fake emotion. You got to really dig deep and put a lot into finding out how they really feel. Love. Tauruses are very lovable. We love to feel, and we love passion. We love all of that. So, I mean, yeah.
So go get you a Gemini, just be careful.
Or get yourself a Taurus and be ready to
loved.
love.